Does that mean I'm a racist no matter what I do or what I think? I'm a racist, but I don't know I'm a racist?
Okay. Make you racist? No.
Who judges that? Doesn't the person judging me have his own implicit bias? How do I know his implicit bias isn't worse than my implicit bias?
I agree, but I'm not judging you, Senator, and I don't know
I'm not asking
who
you
would
to,
be judging.
but somebody.
Welcome to Capitol Insights. Today, I'm diving deep into an intense conversation between Senator John Kennedy and Merrick Garland that'll make you think differently about racism, bias, and systemic discrimination. This isn't just another political hearing. This is a raw, honest dialogue that breaks down complex ideas in a way you've never heard before. Let's get into the unheard truths of systemic racism.
Is there any other way to measure institutional racism other than the numbers, the disparate impact?
Well, yes. I mean, you can look at large numbers of individual cases in which discriminatory conduct is actually found, intentional discriminatory conduct. Then it's not just a question of numbers. But, if an institution has a very large number of incidents of unconstitutional conduct, the entity is responsible in the same way a corporation is responsible for the behavior of its individuals. It's the same way.
What's the difference, though, between people who are racist and an institution that's racist?
Now we do have a cosmic question, but I think institutions are made up of.
Yeah, but this is important.
I know. I'm totally with you. I totally agree with that. Corporations are nothing other than the collection of their individuals. And the same is true for a public entity, which is in a certain way a corporation.
Okay, I got to get one more in. I'm sorry, I got 24 seconds.
I'm sorry, you asked a very hard question.
Well, we can talk about this later, but I want to ask you about this concept of implicit bias.
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm a racist no matter what I do or what I think? I'm a racist, but I don't know I'm a racist?
Okay, the label racist is not one that I would apply like that. Implicit bias just means that every human being has biases. That's part of what it means to be a human being. And the point of examining our implicit biases is to bring our conscious mind up to our unconscious mind and to know when we're behaving in a stereotyped way. Everybody has stereotypes. It's not possible to go through life without working through stereotypes. And implicit biases are the ones that we don't recognize our behavior. That doesn't make you racist, no.
Who judges that? Doesn't the person judging me have his own implicit bias? How do I know his implicit bias isn't worse than my implicit bias?
I agree, but I'm not judging you, Senator, and I don't know
I'm not asking
who
you
would
to,
be judging.
But somebody, if you say you have implicit bias, that's a pejorative statement. I'm not saying you're being mean. You're not a mean guy. That's obvious. You're a nice guy. If you say somebody has implicit bias, somebody's got to make that subjective judgment, and the person making that subjective judgment has implicit bias. If it's part of being a human, then how do you know who wins?
Fair enough. But if we say that all people have implicit bias, it's not, you shouldn't take it as pejorative. This is just an element of the human condition. So you shouldn't take that as pejorative. Implicit bias is just a descriptor of the way everyone's mind works.
How about if you say that America has racists in it, just like everybody else? Does that just like everywhere else? Does that make America systemically racist?
I think I don't want to waste your time because I think this is what I said before. What I mean by systemic racism is the patterns of discrimination and disparate treatment across the country. It doesn't mean that any particular individual is a racist.
First, let's break down what they discussed. Garland doesn't just throw around buzzwords. He's talking about real, measurable disparities. We're talking about communities of color facing lower employment rates, less home ownership, and massive gaps in wealth accumulation. It's not about pointing fingers. It's about understanding the numbers behind inequality. If you're finding this breakdown fascinating, smash that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you don't want to miss content that actually helps you understand these critical conversations. Here's where it gets interesting. How do you actually prove an institution is racist? It's not as simple as counting numbers. Garland explains it's about investigating patterns of unconstitutional conduct. Think of it like detective work. You're looking for repeated behaviors that show a systematic problem. Now let's talk about the most mind-blowing part of their conversation: implicit bias. Garland drops a truth bomb. Everyone has biases, and I mean everyone. It doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you human. The key is recognizing these unconscious stereotypes and working to overcome them. What really struck me was how Kennedy and Garland weren't trying to score political points. They were genuinely exploring a complex topic. They agreed that having biases is part of being human, and the real goal is becoming conscious of these biases and actively working to change them. This conversation shows that understanding racism isn't about blame, it's about awareness, understanding, and continuous improvement. We're all on a journey of learning and growing. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and drop a comment below. What did you think about this conversation? Let's keep this dialogue going. Catch you in the next video.